Hello, I'm Martin, lead teacher at Longbourn School. I took over as lead teacher at the beginning of the year, and when I first looked at what ICT had been done here, I was quite impressed. However, I did find that quite a lot of things had been built on without necessarily thinking about the structure of the files or the organisation, and at times things were very difficult to find, locate. Relationships, for example, between the server and the Ultranet. Some files that teachers were able to use, or encouraged to use, were on the Ultranet, others were on the server, and some were doubled up and some were not, and it was sometimes quite difficult to trace the files that you wanted. So one of the things I've tried to do is actually help streamline and reorganize and restructure. This actually meant that fairly early on actually closing our Ultranet down and trying to reformat it so that it was easier, more user-friendly. One of the unfortunate consequences of this was it's taken time to actually get the Ultranet back up and running, and we've started with our seniors getting more involved with that. They're beginning to take that on. However, issues have arisen because at times they have misunderstood the use of the messaging board there. It's become a public chat room for them, and we're losing the focus as far as the educational value of this. Hello, I'm Martin, ICT lead teacher at Longbourn School. Took over as lead teacher at the beginning of the year, and at first I was quite impressed with the ICT that had been taking place. However, when I looked closely at it, I discovered that there was a lack of organisation, the lot of adding on and building on, and not necessarily structuring our resources particularly well. So one of the things I've done is try to help restructure these. One of the first things I did was to actually close down our Ultranet and look to reorganise it, because it become quite ungainly and not particularly user-friendly. As someone coming in from the outside, I was like a parent or a member of the public coming across the site for the first time, and so with that insight I was able to start to restructure. Unfortunately, this has taken longer than planned, and we've only recently got our senior students back using the Ultranet as we intended. Within the Ultranet there is the use space facility, and within this the students can message each other. Now our intention really was for them to be talking about homework and helping themselves with that, and encouraging each other with learning, reflecting on their learning. This hasn't been as successful as we wanted, and recently we discovered some inappropriate, not particularly serious, but inappropriate messaging. Well, actually this has given us a perfect platform to focus on our CyberSmart curriculum, which we have been doing for a little while, but obviously the main points weren't getting home. And so we've been able to highlight what we expect from them and to increase our monitoring of the chat room and the messaging, and we now have a better base to build upon. So we're moving forward with our Ultranet. They say the seniors started this with this knowledge. When we bring it into the middle school, which is my class, and later into the juniors, we'll actually have a very good platform to make sure that the site is being used appropriately. One of the other things that we noticed was it was difficult to find files that teachers could use, because some of their files and resources were on the Ultranet and some were actually on the server, some were doubled up, and it wasn't particularly user-friendly trying to find materials, especially as a new teacher coming in. And so one of the things we are doing is reorganising, restructuring, and we shortly have a meeting where we're going to look at the Ultranet and work out what resources we need to be on there, on the server, and also we're looking at possibly getting remote access to the server and seeing which one actually provides the best resource for the teachers. As a class teacher, I have learnt heaps this year. The active board was something that I wasn't familiar with, and I'm now actually quite enjoy making my own flip charts and using them in class and getting the students to actively engage with their learning on the active boards. We have an ICT suite at Longburn School rather than have computers in the classroom. This can be a bit of a problem for timetabling. We have to work together to make sure that we've got access. Much prefer to have them in the classroom myself, but this is the way the school's set up. And so we're having to learn to work together. But within the ICT suite, I can take the whole class in if necessary. We have a screen. I can teach from my laptop on the screen, and we have, for example, learned how to use Google Docs. We're still experimenting with this. There's no real depth to the work on Google Docs. It is more learning the process and being able to collaborate on that. We have had students collaborating with each other across the suite. What I'd like to do is take that now out and have collaboration with students across the cluster, or even across the city, across the world, the country, across the world. Talking about across the world, the seniors are Skyping at the moment to Japan, and regularly have contact in Japan with our former intern that was here at Longburn School. The students have actually been quite impressed with what we've come up with. As I've dug in to find out what work has been done, writing the milestone report, I'm seeing that we are making progress. A lot of way to go, a long way to go. One of the things that we want to look at is the use of mobile resources, mobile devices, whether we should get tablets or smartphones. But all the time we are thinking about our ICT development at school. We do talk about it in staff meetings, although it's not everything's documented. We keep up to date with each other, and we support each other, which is a really good situation to be in. I'm learning as much from my colleagues as hopefully they're learning from me. So that's just a bit of a snapshot as to what's been happening at Longburn School from a teacher's perspective. I suppose you consider me pretty well in the middle of this. One of my colleagues is certainly more au fait with the resources, and one of my colleagues has only just started at the school and is less. So I'm bang in the middle. So hopefully this will give you a good indication of what we've been up to.